The command center of the Galactic Confederation research vessel hummed with activity as Director Tejo studied the holographic display. Everyone moved with purpose, checking screens and talking in low voices. The large central display showed an unknown ship drifting at the edge of their territory. "Director, we've completed the initial scan," Science Officer Juwu said, her four-fingered hand sliding across her control panel. "The vessel appears to use primitive metallurgy and propulsion systems. Energy readings are minimal. It's likely a derelict from an undocumented species." Tahoe's scaled skin reflected the blue light from the display as he leaned forward. His species was known for careful consideration, and he took his time before responding. "Interesting. No distress signals. No signs of life. None that we can detect," Juwu confirmed. "The power systems appear dormant, though there are unusual energy signatures we cannot identify." Tahoe nodded thoughtfully. The Confederation had strict protocols for first contact situations, but a derelict vessel presented a valuable research opportunity. "Prepare a research team," he ordered. "We should investigate before declaring this sector safe for expansion. This could be valuable data for the archives." The crew moved with increased speed at his command. The Confederation had encountered 17 different spacefaring species in its history, but new discoveries were rare and precious. 6 hours later, senior xenologist Minho led his team through the airlock of the abandoned vessel. Their atmospheric suits glowed softly with status lights against the darkness of what they now knew was a human battleship called Indomitable *. The name had been decoded from markings on the hull. Minho's breathing sounded loud inside his helmet as he took his first steps into the unknown ship. Behind him came Engineer Hyun, Biologist Soman, and Security Officer Kwan. Each carried specialized equipment for analyzing the vessel. "Artificial gravity still functioning," noted Soman with surprise. "That suggests some power systems remain operational." The team moved cautiously down a dark corridor. Their suit lights revealed walls lined with conduits and what appeared to be manual control interfaces. "Primitive indeed," muttered Engineer Hyun, running his scanner along a corridor wall. The device emitted a soft blue light as it analyzed the materials. "Their technology appears to be at least 2 centuries behind ours. Look at these manual control systems. They actually require physical interaction." Kwan, the security officer, kept his defensive tool ready. "Primitive doesn't mean harmless. Stay alert." Minho remained silent, something about the ship's design troubling him. The layout seemed inefficient, with redundancies that made no logical sense to Confederation engineering principles. Corridors branched unnecessarily. Systems had multiple backups. Power routing was complex where it should be simple. "This design approach is puzzling," he finally said. "They use space inefficiently. Notice how these corridors are wide enough for multiple beings to move side by side. A waste of valuable ship volume." "Perhaps they were physically larger than us," suggested Soman. "The door heights don't support that theory," Minho replied. "And look here, multiple access points to the same systems, redundancy upon redundancy." They continued deeper into the ship, documenting everything with their scanners. The vessel was enormous compared to Confederation ships of similar purpose. Their atmosphere was oxygen-nitrogen-based, Soman reported, analyzing residual traces. "Compatible with Class 3 biological systems, likely carbon-based life forms." As they reached what appeared to be the engine room, Minho's unease grew. The chamber was vast, much larger than needed for the propulsion systems they could see. Massive metal structures surrounded a central core that pulsed with a faint residual energy. "Begin analysis," Minho ordered. "Full spectrum." The team deployed their equipment, scanning the engineering systems from multiple angles. As data flowed into Minho's portable analyzer, his eyes widened. "This is unexpected," he said, studying his readings. "These radiation patterns shouldn't be possible with materials of this composition. According to our understanding of physics, this propulsion system shouldn't work at all." Hyun moved to his side, checking the readings for himself. That can't be right. The efficiency calculations are impossible. Run the scan again. Minho did so, but the results were identical. The materials are simple alloys. Nothing exotic. No quantum manipulation signatures. No dimensional folding technology. Yet somehow they've achieved near-light propulsion with what amounts to controlled explosions. Perhaps our scanners are malfunctioning, Hyun suggested. All of them. Simultaneously, Minho shook his head. No, there's something fundamental we're missing about their approach to technology. Soman called from across the room. You should see this. I've found what appears to be a shielding system, but it's unlike anything in our databases. It seems designed to absorb energy rather than deflect it. Kwan, who had been checking adjacent rooms, returned with concerning news. The weapons control center is troubling. Their weapons systems are crude, kinetic projectiles and chemical explosives, but the yield calculations are far beyond what such simple technology should produce. Minho felt a chill despite his temperature-regulated suit. Something about this abandoned vessel felt wrong. It was as if the ship had been designed by beings who thought completely differently from any Confederation species. Director Tahoe, he called over the communication system. I believe we need to approach this investigation with greater caution. This vessel contains technological solutions that contradict our scientific understanding. Explain, came Tahoe's voice. They've achieved advanced capabilities through methods we considered inefficient or impossible. They're using simple materials in ways that shouldn't work according to our physics, yet somehow it did. The team gathered in the engine room, their suit lights creating pools of illumination in the darkness. None of them noticed the small red light that had begun blinking on a console behind them, or the subtle change in the ship's dormant energy signature. The indomitable asterisk wasn't as dead as it appeared. The research team moved deeper into the human battleship, their suit lights casting long shadows across unfamiliar equipment. Researcher Do-yeon stood in what they had identified as a weapons control bay, his three-fingered hands moving over strange mechanical interfaces. Their weapons systems are barbaric, Do-yeon reported, his voice carrying a hint of disgust as he examined the missile bays. Kinetic projectiles and chemical explosives. Nothing like our energy-based defenses. The walls around them were lined with what appeared to be launch tubes for physical weapons, missiles and torpedoes that would actually impact their targets rather than disrupting them with targeted energy fields as Confederation vessels did. Projectile weapons went extinct in Confederation development over 3 centuries ago, Do-yeon continued. They're inefficient, require physical ammunition storage, and lack precision. Minho moved closer, studying his own scanner readings with growing concern. Then why are the containment fields so robust? He asked, pointing to his findings. The destructive yield calculations are concerning. He showed Do-yeon the data. The protective systems surrounding the weapon storage areas were far more advanced than the weapons themselves seemed to warrant. These containment fields could withstand forces 10 times greater than what simple chemical explosives should produce, Minho said. Either they were extremely cautious engineers, or these weapons are far more destructive than their primitive design suggests, Do-yeon finished. Security Officer Kwan approached from an adjacent room. You should see the targeting systems. They're designed to function even with significant damage to the primary sensors. Multiple redundant systems, manual backup controls. This ship was built to keep fighting even when severely damaged. The team exchanged troubled looks. The Confederation designed ships to prevent damage with sophisticated shields. The idea of continuing combat after sustaining major damage was alien to their military doctrine. Let's check the crew quarters, Minho suggested. Perhaps we can learn more about these humans there. They moved through narrow corridors until reaching a section of the ship with small individual compartments. Each room contained what appeared to be sleeping platforms, storage units, and personal effects. Engineer Hyun picked up what appeared to be a small electronic device from one of the sleeping platforms. It had a screen and manual control interfaces. After examining it for a moment, he activated it. The screen lit up, displaying vivid images of simulated combat between human figures. "They simulate combat as entertainment," he said, baffled. "This appears to be a recreational device. The humans would spend their leisure time engaging with artificial conflict scenarios." Soman had wandered into another section. "And look at their medical bay. Designed to keep functioning despite catastrophic damage to the ship," she called out. "Multiple backup power systems, manual surgical tools alongside automated ones, physical medicine storage rather than molecular synthesizers." The medical bay contained rows of what appeared to be treatment platforms with restraints. Strange mechanical arms hung from the ceiling, tipped with primitive cutting tools and devices the team could only guess were for cauterizing wounds. "They expected to treat severe injuries during combat," Soman said quietly. "Many severe injuries." In an adjacent room, Minho discovered something even more disturbing. A storage area contained what appeared to be modified exoskeletons, mechanical frameworks designed to be worn by humans. "They augment themselves with machinery," he said, carefully examining one of the suits. "But look at the design. It's not for improvement but to compensate for weaknesses." The others gathered around. The exoskeleton had reinforced joints, strength-enhancing mechanisms, and what appeared to be interfaces for connecting with ship systems. "A technological dead end," scoffed Doyun, running his scanner over the suit. "True advancement comes from biological enhancement and energy manipulation, not mechanical augmentation." "No," said Minho quietly. "I believe we're seeing a completely different approach to innovation. They don't follow the same technological progression we assumed was universal." He gestured around the room. "Look at everything we've found. Their technology isn't primitive. It's parallel. They developed along a completely different path than the Confederation species." Quan, always alert, had been examining what appeared to be personal armor. "These defense suits are designed to withstand extreme conditions, temperature variations, pressure changes, impact forces, even radiation exposure. What kind of environment would require such protections?" Soman wondered. "Combat," Quan replied grimly. "They expected to fight in hostile conditions." Minho connected his scanner to the ship's computer terminal, attempting to access its data systems. After several attempts, simple text appeared on his device. "I've accessed some of their records," he announced. According to this, the Indomitable Asterisk was something called a destroyer-class vessel, part of something called the Earth Defense Fleet. "Defense against what?" Hyun asked. "That's not clear," Minho replied, scrolling through the limited data he could translate. "But look at this. The ship carried a crew of over 300 humans, far more than a Confederation vessel of comparable size would require." Doyun had moved to another terminal. "I found technical specifications. Their propulsion system uses something called fusion pulse engines, incredibly inefficient by our standards, yet somehow capable of near-light travel." Minho continued exploring the crew areas, finding more evidence of the ship's former inhabitants. Personal items, images of what appeared to be human family units, and strange symbols and text adorned many surfaces. "Their entire approach to space travel differs from ours," he said finally. "We seek elegance and efficiency. They build for endurance and survival at any cost." A sharp alarm suddenly sounded from Hyun's scanner. Energy spike in the engine room. "Something's activating." Quan immediately drew his defensive tool. "We should return to our ship." "Not yet," Minho countered. "This is the first sign of active systems. We need to understand what's happening." As they debated, lights throughout the crew section suddenly illuminated. A mechanical voice spoke in an unknown language, the sound harsh and staccato to the alien's hearing. "What's it saying?" Doyun asked nervously. "Unknown," Minho replied. "But I think the ship has detected our presence. Director Tahoe needs to hear about this," Soman said, activating her communication link. "The human vessel isn't dead. It was dormant." The lights in the corridor ahead of them began to pulse, as if showing them a path. "It wants us to go somewhere," Minho realized. Or it's trying to trap us, Quan warned. Minho looked around at the strange technology that surrounded them, built by beings who approached the universe so differently than his own people. We came to learn, he said firmly. So let's learn. They followed the pulsing lights deeper into the awakening human vessel, unaware they were being watched through every sensor and camera on the ship. The lights guided the alien research team to a large chamber filled with rows of data storage units and display terminals. This was clearly the ship's information center. As they entered, more systems activated around them. Screens lit up, showing scrolling symbols in the human language. Fascinating. Communications specialist Subin whispered. She had joined the team specifically to help analyze any information they might find. Her species was gifted with exceptional pattern recognition abilities, making her the perfect choice for decoding alien communication systems. Subin approached one of the terminals and connected her translation device. Her six-fingered hands moved quickly across her equipment as she began attempting to decipher the human language. Their writing system is surprisingly simple, she noted, linear and phonetic, very different from our symbolic communication. The others spread throughout the room, examining different parts of the data center. Minho watched as Subin worked, impressed by her speed. I'm breaking through their basic security protocols, she announced after several minutes. They're not particularly sophisticated. The system seems designed for easy access by authorized personnel rather than security. More screens activated around them. One began displaying what appeared to be recorded images of humans moving throughout the ship. The aliens watched with fascination as they saw the ship's former crew for the first time. The humans walked on two legs and had two arms, similar to several Confederation species. Their skin appeared soft and exposed, with no natural armor or protective features. They wore uniform-like clothing with color-coded sections. They looked so vulnerable, Selman said. No wonder they rely on external protection. After nearly an hour of work, Subin had managed to access the ship's communication logs. Her expression changed as she began reading the translated content. Their language is aggressive even in routine communication, she reported, looking troubled. They use combat terminology for everyday activities. Deadlines, crushing problems, killing time. She displayed examples on her device for the others to see. The engineering team is fighting to keep the engines operational. We're battling this navigation issue. The captain shot down my proposal, she read. These aren't descriptions of actual violence. They're routine ship operations. Minho moved to another terminal where he had gained limited access to historical files. What he found disturbed him deeply. Their entire civilization developed through constant conflict, he said, his voice growing more concerned as he scrolled through more data. They've survived multiple near-extinction events, self-inflicted. He displayed images of human history, wars, weapons, devastation. They nearly destroyed their home planet multiple times with their own weapons, Minho continued. Nuclear, biological, chemical. Yet somehow they survived each time and continued to advance technologically. Director Tejo's voice came through their communication link. He had been listening to their findings from the research vessel. That's impossible, said Tejo firmly. No species could evolve sapience with such self-destructive tendencies. The natural evolutionary path leads away from self-destruction. There must be some misinterpretation of the data. I've triple-checked the translations, Subin replied. There's no error. Look at this communication file. It's a recreational story they shared among themselves. It describes a fictional conflict where humans defeat a technologically superior alien species through what they call sheer determination and willingness to sacrifice. Quan had been examining what appeared to be security protocols. Their defense systems are designed to prioritize mission completion over crew survival in certain scenarios. They have protocols for fighting while the ship is breaking apart around them. Minho accessed another section of data. Look at their medical records, he continued. Humans can continue functioning despite injuries that would incapacitate any Confederation species. They call it adrenaline and shock response. He displayed anatomical diagrams of human bodies, highlighting biological systems unknown to the aliens. When injured or threatened, their bodies release chemicals that allow them to ignore pain, increase physical strength, and continue fighting even with severe damage to their bodies. Minho explained. They can lose significant amounts of blood and still remain combat effective. Their healing abilities are remarkable. A useful adaptation for a predator species, Soman noted, but disturbing in a spacefaring civilization. Hyun had moved to what appeared to be a monitoring station near the center of the room. As he studied the controls, his body suddenly stiffened. "The internal sensors are active," he said, his voice dropping to a whisper. "They've been recording us." The others quickly gathered around his station. On the screen, they could see real-time images of themselves standing in the data center. The system was tracking their movements, analyzing their equipment, even measuring their biological signatures. "How long has this been active?" Kwon demanded, his defensive posture returning instantly. "Based on these timestamps," Han's voice faltered, "since we first entered the ship, every movement, every scan, every word we've spoken, it's all been recorded and analyzed." Minho felt a chill run through his body. He looked around the room with new eyes, suddenly aware of cameras and sensors hidden in the walls and ceiling. "This ship isn't abandoned," he said quietly. "It's waiting." A new screen activated directly in front of them. Words appeared in their own language, translated perfectly. "Welcome, Confederation Research Team. We HAVBE and AXPCTNU." "How does it know our language?" Subin gasped. "It's been listening to us," Minho realized, "learning from everything we've said and done." The message on the screen changed. "Your assessment of human capabilities is incomplete. Would you like it to learn more?" Before anyone could respond, a new alarm sounded throughout the ship. This one was different, more urgent. Kwon checked his communication device. Director Taeho is reporting multiple ships appearing at the edge of the system. They've emerged from faster-than-light travel without using any known jump points. The screen before them changed again. "The humans have arrived. Please remain calm. First contact protoxios ionitoide." Minho looked at his team, seeing his own fear reflected in their eyes. They had come to study what they thought was an abandoned relic of a primitive species. Instead, they had awakened something that had been studying them in return, something that used conflict as a way of life, that built machines to compensate for their physical weaknesses, that could continue fighting despite injuries that should be fatal. And now, more of them were coming. Red emergency lights suddenly flickered to life throughout the ship. The calm blue illumination that had guided their exploration was replaced by pulsing crimson warnings. A computerized voice began counting down in an unfamiliar language, harsh, clipped sounds that echoed through every corridor. "The ship is activating," Kwon said, his defensive tool raised. "We need to leave now." The small data screen in front of them changed again. "Defense PROTOCOLS INITIATE. Please proceed to NEARDSTEVAQUATION point." "What's happening?" demanded Director Taeho from the research vessel, his voice sharp with concern through their communication devices. "The ship's defense systems are activating," Minho replied urgently, trying to keep his voice steady despite his rising fear. "We need to evacuate immediately." The research team rushed from the data center, heading toward their entry point. The corridors that had been dark and silent now hummed with energy. Panels that had seemed decorative slid open, revealing weapons systems and defense mechanisms. As they turned a corner, a heavy door slid shut in front of them, blocking their path. "It's sealing sections of the ship," Hyun said, checking his scanner. "Mechanical systems are whirring to life around them. We need to find another way." Kwon consulted the map they had created during their exploration. "There's another route through the lower deck. This way." They raced through increasingly active corridors. Systems that had been dormant for who knew how long were now operational. Lights, environmental controls, weapon stations, all coming online as if the ship was waking from a long sleep. "The vessel is powering up its engines," Hyun reported, checking his scanner. "Primary reactor approaching full capacity." Subin touched her communication device, listening to incoming messages. Her eyes widened. "Confederation fleet reports multiple unknown signatures emerging from faster-than-light travel," she announced, her voice tight with tension. "They appeared without warning at the edge of the system. Fleet Command believes it's a human rescue fleet." "How many vessels?" Minho asked as they descended a maintenance ladder to the lower deck. "5 ships," Subin replied. "Similar in design to this one but fully powered and active." They reached another corridor that would lead them back to their entry point, but found this path blocked as well. Defense barriers had deployed from the ceiling and floor, creating an impassable obstacle. "They're hurting us," Quan realized. "Directing our movement." A new message appeared on their personal devices. "Please proceed to docking bay 4. Sci-Fi passage will be provided." "It's directing us to a different exit point," Minho said. "Should we trust it? Do we have a choice?" Summon asked, looking at the sealed corridors around them. The ship shuddered slightly, the vibration running through the deck plates beneath their feet. The engine sound changed tone, becoming deeper, more powerful. "The main drives are online," Hyun said in disbelief. "This ship is preparing to move under its own power." Meanwhile, on the bridge of the Confederation flagship Eternal Harmony Admiral Junho surveyed the tactical display with studied calm. The enormous command vessel hung in space with 20 support ships arranged in defensive formation. Before them, 5 human vessels had appeared, their design similar to the derelict ship they had been studying. "Only 5 vessels," Junho said, his 4 eyes blinking in sequence as he assessed the situation. "We outnumber them 4 to 1. Prepare to capture the human ships for further study." His tactical officer, Yoonji, manipulated the control surface before her. "Human vessels are powering weapon systems. Their design appears similar to the derelict but much more advanced. Energy readings are difficult to interpret. They would not dare attack a Confederation fleet," Junho said confidently. "No rational species would engage against such odds." The communication system activated, and Minho's voice crackled through, distorted by interference from the now active human ship. "Admiral, I strongly advise against engagement," Minho said urgently. "There are inconsistencies in our understanding of their capabilities. These beings do not think like us. Their approach to technology and combat is fundamentally different from our own." Junho's skin flushed a deeper blue, indicating mild irritation. "Your concern is noted, Sinologist," he replied dismissively. "But we must secure this technology for proper study. The Confederation cannot allow unknown capabilities to remain unexamined." He turned to his second-in-command. "Prepare tractor beams. We will immobilize their vessels and then board them." Back aboard the Indomitable Asterisk, the research team followed the ship's guidance through corridors that were increasingly active. Mechanical arms extended from walls, repairing systems that had been dormant. Defense turrets rotated, tracking their movement but not firing. The ship could have killed us at any time, Solomon realized. It chose not to. They reached what appeared to be an auxiliary control center. Screens displayed the space around the vessel, showing the Confederation fleet arrayed in battle formation and the 5 human ships approaching. A new message appeared on the main screen. "Remain here. For your safety. First contact situation will be resolved." "It wants us to stay in this room," Minho said. "I think it's trying to protect us." "From what?" Do-hyun asked nervously. Before anyone could answer, the ship lurched forward. Through the view screens, they watched as the Indomitable Asterisk began to move under its own power, accelerating toward the human fleet. On the Confederation flagship, alarms sounded. The derelict vessel has activated, reported Yunji. It's moving to rendezvous with the human fleet. Admiral, our research team is still aboard. Activate tractor beams, Junot ordered. Bring that ship to a halt. The Eternal Harmony projected powerful energy fields designed to immobilize the human vessel. For a moment, the Indomitable slowed. Then, impossibly, it continued moving. Tractor beams having minimal effect, Yunji reported, confusion evident in her voice. The hull seems to be absorbing the energy somehow. Impossible, Junho said. Increase power. On the Indomitable the research team watched in awe as their vessel broke free from the Confederation's restraining technology. The ship's hull is converting the tractor beam energy into additional propulsion, Hyun said, reading the data on a nearby screen. It's using our own technology against us. Minho stared at the displays showing the approaching human fleet. We thought we were studying them, he said quietly. But from the moment we stepped aboard, they were studying us. The human vessels moved into a protective formation around the Indomitable their weapons systems fully active but not firing. A message appeared on the screen in front of the research team. Remain calm. Ni Gio to Iato Jonens, will be Gian, Shovor Taloi. The humans wished to talk. The tension in space grew as the human vessels organized into a perfect arrowhead formation. The Confederation fleet's predictive systems tried to anticipate their movements, but something was wrong. The human ships didn't follow expected patterns. They moved together as if they were one mind, not 5 separate vessels. Admiral, they're not responding to our warning signals, reported Communications Officer Dawe. Admiral Juno stood tall on the command deck of the Eternal Harmony He had never lost a battle in his 80 years of service. He wasn't about to start now. Fire warning shots across their formation. Show them our superior firepower. The Confederation ships released brilliant energy beams that flashed through space near the human vessels. The humans didn't change course or speed. Their targeting systems are locking onto our shield generators specifically, reported Tactical Officer Yunji suddenly, her voice rising with alarm. But our intelligence suggested they couldn't detect our shield harmonics. Impossible, Juno said. Our shield technology is centuries beyond what they should possess. The tactical display lit up as the human vessels fired. Not energy weapons like the Confederation used, but physical projectiles and guided weapons. Simple, primitive technology that should have been easily stopped. The projectiles hit the Confederation shields and somehow passed through them. Several struck key systems on the support vessel Serene Dawn Serene Dawn reports multiple hull breaches. Yunji shouted. Their primary shield generator is destroyed. Admiral Juno watched in disbelief as the first Confederation vessel fell to seemingly primitive weapons that somehow bypassed their advanced defenses. The Serene Dawn drifted helplessly, its sleek hull now broken and venting atmosphere. How? He whispered. On the Indomitable Minho and the research team watched the battle unfold on the control room screens. Now he understood what they had been missing. They deliberately use outdated technology as misdirection, he said, the realization striking him like a physical blow. Their ships aren't designed for efficiency. They're designed for adaptability in unpredictable combat situations. What do you mean? Asked Summon. Look at how they fight, he pointed to the display. Their weapons shouldn't work against our shields, but they do. They studied our defenses and designed weapons specifically to defeat them. They don't follow the same technological development path we do. They choose what works, not what's elegant. The screen showed 2 more Confederation vessels falling to human attacks. The mighty Eternal Harmony itself showed damage along its port side. Admiral Juno is ordering a retreat, Subin reported, listening to her communicator. The Confederation fleet is withdrawing. They watched as the remaining Confederation ships turned and accelerated away from the battlefield. The human vessels did not pursue. They simply formed a protective ring around the indomitable asterisk. A new message appeared on the screen. Confederation Research Team. You will be returning safely. We wish to establish diplomatic relations. 3 days later, back at Confederation headquarters, Minho stood before the High Council. The massive chamber was silent as 17 council members from different species listened to his report. His team stood behind him, still shaken by their experience. Humans represent something we've never encountered before, he explained, his voice echoing in the vast space. They don't optimize. They over-engineer. They don't seek perfection. They embrace redundancy. He displayed images from inside the indomitable asterisk on the large projection screen. Their technology appears primitive because they value reliability over efficiency, adaptability over specialization, and survival over all else. What we thought was technological inferiority was actually a completely different approach to engineering. Councillor Minji leaned forward in her seat. She was the oldest member of the council, her scaled skin showing the pale blue of great age. Your recommendation? She asked quietly. Minho took a deep breath. We have 2 options, he replied gravely. Establish diplomatic relations immediately, or prepare for a conflict unlike any in our history. The council chamber erupted in voices. Some called for immediate military action. Others urged caution and diplomacy. The humans returned our research team unharmed. Councillor Minji noted, silencing the others. They could have destroyed our entire fleet, but chose not to. That suggests they prefer peace. Unless it was another misdirection, another councillor argued. Showing mercy to appear peaceful while they prepare for war. Minho shook his head. I don't believe so. They had many opportunities to harm us during our time on their ship. Instead, they protected us. The evidence suggests they genuinely wish to establish peaceful relations. After hours of debate, the council made its decision. A diplomatic message would be sent to the human fleet, still waiting at the edge of Confederation space. Meanwhile, on the newly reclaimed indomitable asterisk, Captain Jinwoo sat in the command chair. The ship had been dormant for months, part of an elaborate first contact strategy. They had known the Confederation would eventually find it, study it, and report back. It was the perfect way to learn about a potential new ally or enemy. An officer handed him a datapad. The Confederation has responded, Captain. Jinwoo read the message with interest. They want to talk, he told his crew. Seems our first contact could have gone better. Around him, the bridge crew laughed. They had been monitoring the alien research team the entire time, learning everything about Confederation technology, biology, and society. Lieutenant Yona, his second-in-command, smiled. Should we show them our actual battleships next time? The indomitable asterisk was indeed a destroyer-class vessel, but an outdated one, intentionally left for discovery. The real strength of the human fleet remained hidden, watching from a safe distance. Let's not terrify them too quickly, Jinwoo replied. After all, we come in peace. His fingers moved across the control panel, preparing a friendly response to the Confederation's message. On screens around him, status reports showed the ship's weapon systems, far more advanced than what the aliens had discovered, still ready for use. Set course for the meeting coordinates, he ordered. Let's make history. As the indomitable asterisk moved through space, Captain Jinwoo wondered what the Confederation would think when they learned the full truth about humanity. How would they react when they discovered that what they had seen was just the beginning? Peace was always the goal, but humans had learned through their long, violent history that peace was best negotiated from a position of strength. After all, he murmured to himself, we may be peaceful now, but we became that way by surviving everything the universe could throw at us. The ship accelerated toward its destination, carrying humanity's representatives to their first official meeting with alien life. Peace was the mission. But the weapons systems remained ready, just in case. The end